What's up, everybody? It's your boy Toxeyboyo, and I know that Daredevil Born Again Season 2 ended quite a while ago, but I kind of wanted to wait until Punisher One Last Kill came out so I could watch that and see if there was a justifiable reason given within Punisher One Last Kill as to why Frank Castle was not involved in Daredevil Born Again Season 2 after being so heavily involved in the ending of Daredevil Born Again Season 1. Needless to say, that did not happen. So there's kind of just like no real reason given as to where he is and what he's doing during those events. But yeah, let's just get right into talking about Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Let's get the positives out of the way first. um, Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox, and Deborah Ann Woll are still amazing as their characters. I think that Wilson Fisk has been given life in a way that, we never thought was possible. Like, I liked him in the old Daredevil movie, but he just doesn't have the sauce and the aura and the presence, that he has on the show. And that's why they keep him around. Personally speaking, I am a little bit tired of Wilson Fisk being the central antagonist. It's been 4 out of 5 seasons that Fisk was behind everything, and it's kind of driving me nuts, to be completely honest with you. We didn't really get Bullseye until season 3, and he wasn't called Bullseye until season 4. I'm treating this as one long show, basically, for the sake of discussion. He wasn't called Bullseye until season 4. He didn't get a Bullseye costume until just now, basically. But there's no like Typhoid Mary. We are already done with the Hand as it pertains to Daredevil. At least that's how it seems because of what happened at the end of Defenders. You could say that Spider-Man Brand New Day is like trying to backdoor Hand back into Marvel, but still, so much Fisk, And it's not to say that I don't enjoy Vincent D'Onofrio. I obviously do. I think he's great in the role. But I feel as though we are bleeding that the well is running dry. The well is running dry on that. And we've already seen set photos of Vincent back in action. We're getting more Fisk for season 3. I want to see something else. Like, I know Stick is dead. I want Stick back. I know Elektra is dead. I want Elektra back. Like, I just don't understand. And that's pretty much all I really have to say positive about this season. Just like season 1, I found season 2 of Daredevil Born Again to be extraordinarily boring. One thing that drove me kind of crazy about season 1 of Born Again was all of like the build-up surrounding Muse. Like, Muse was kind of like the focal point of a lot of the marketing for season 1, and then he was dealt with by the halfway point of the season. And Heather as a character pretty much stopped having anything to do. Well, she's back, and her arc is that she's just going crazy. That's really all it is. She has PTSD from her encounter with Muse, which is interesting, because she is a psychiatrist who very clearly needs someone to talk to. But her character is half that, half she's pissed off because of how Matt treated her. That's really it. And we see that when she is like questioning Karen towards the end of the season and she hits her. It's like her not to sound woke or anything, but Heather's entire character is defined by men. It's defined by Muse and it's defined by Daredevil, and that is it. That's it. And she has this huge anti-vigilante boner, which is also crazy because if Daredevil hadn't shown up to fight Muse when he did, Heather would be dead. And like, yeah, she can be irrational about that or whatever, and she can like conflate the two, but she does have a PhD, so she has to have some ability to separate those two things, right? She has to have some understanding. Reality that Daredevil saved her life that day. Yes, she's the one that killed Muse, right? But she wouldn't have even gotten that far if it weren't for Matt. So Heather's character kind of just like drives me crazy because like the whole thing is like they're setting her up to become the next Muse. Like she looks in the mirror and she sees Muse or whatever at the end of the season. That's cool, right? Does she need to be in every episode of the season though to set that up? Because her character does not move very far in each episode, and that's kind of like my big gripe with the whole season, really the entire show. This is something that I said about The Boys as well. The needle does not move very far episode by episode. Like, the status quo at the end of episode 2 of the season is pretty much the same as it was at the beginning of episode 1 of the season, right? Matt's still MIA, Daredevil's still a fugitive. All that stuff is cool. Bullseye pops up and then he pops out and then he pops back up again. All of that's weird, but it's like each episode, despite being 50 minutes long, does not really have a whole lot happening in it until I would say the last 3 episodes of the season. That's where all of the content is. And I get it. I just kind of feel like it has a lot to do with like the structure of shows like this nowadays. Also kind of, okay, I don't get sidetracked. What I was going to say is that like pretty much ever since we started doing these Marvel shows on Disney Plus, most of them have felt like movies that are inflated to be 3 times their length. That's how I felt about Loki. That's how I felt about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's how I felt about Moon Knight. It's like we had film concepts that they didn't want to, you know, put in theaters, and they needed content for the platform. So it's like, can you triple that? And then you end up with 4 episodes out of 6 feeling like filler. Well, now we've got 8 episodes, and I think that this 8-episode structure is a poison to cinema. I'm not saying that we need 23 episodes like we used to get with The Flash or Smallville or Arrow. I think 13 episodes like we used to get with Daredevil is perfectly fine. You know, I could watch season 1 of Daredevil right now and never feel like there was a wasted episode. I could always feel a sense of momentum, and I could always feel a sense of direction when watching that show. Even when I know exactly what's going to happen, I can tangibly see where every major point in the story takes place, every turning point, every big reveal, every big twist, every betrayal, all that stuff is so clearly delineated. Born Again doesn't have that. You know, it's each episode is like 40 minutes of screwing around and then 10 minutes of actual content. That's how it feels. Each episode is structured so poorly and paced so poorly. Now, I said that I didn't have anything else positive to say. That's not true. I want to talk about Daniel. He is the best new character, like original to the show, since Nadim. And spoilers, well, when you get compared to Nadim, certain things happen to you. We miss Daniel. His absence will definitely be felt in season 3. I like BB enough. White Tiger's niece, whose name I can't remember. I don't really feel like she has anything. Buck is cool, not nearly as interesting or as swaggy, in my opinion, as James Wesley was. British accent can only take you so far. Kirsten, not a replacement for Fogg. I'm sorry. Cherry, not a replacement for Mahoney. Sorry. Like, it's just, I feel like the original cast is far more interesting. That's why they bring back those characters as often as they can. That's why Mahoney shows up this season, because I think that they know and understand that people do not prefer Cherry over Mahoney. They want Mahoney back, and so they did the right thing. But it's also like it's caught up in this weird spot of trying to capture nostalgia and also prove that it's better than or can stand on its own when compared to the original show. But it really can't. Like, you're still using the original theme song and the new theme song. You know? That's not a great show of confidence, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't really like Matt this season. I don't really like Karen this season. Like, Karen has had to kill before, right? She had to kill James Wesley to save her own life. Matt Murdock also thought he killed Nobu. He did not know that Styx showed up at the end. Excuse me. He did not think that he did not know that Stick showed up at the very end to actually finish Nobu off. He thought he killed Nobu. He intended to kill Nobu over Elektra. So I don't understand why he's acting like he's never taken a life. He's never gone down that road. He can't look at it that way. He can't even fathom the concept that he and Fisk, one of them is meant to kill the other. When in season 1 and season 3, he has faced Fisk with full intent to kill. Full intent to kill. He showed up as like, I'm going to kill Fisk. In season 1 and 3. And again, in season 2, he's like, you know what, Frank, maybe your way is the way to go. So he's been down that road before. He's come to this realization before, and now he's acting like, perish the thought. Well, that's called character growth. He doesn't want to look at it that way anymore. Based on what? What happened to him as a character that made him change his perspective on that? Foggy died. Like I said, he tried to kill Nobu immediately after Elektra died. Well, that's not good enough for me. And on the topic of Foggy, that flashback episode with him, while Dex is like bleeding to death in present day. Oh man. As much as I like seeing Foggy again, he didn't feel like Foggy. Their like Matt and Foggy's perspective on the guy that they were defending feel opposite to each other at the beginning of season 1, because this takes place before season 1. This is back when they were, what was it, Min and Zach? Foggy is the one talking about giving somebody a second chance and you know, doing the right thing and dissenting from apathy. And Matt's like, well, we should do what our job is and get paid and all this stuff, you know. But it's like, that's the opposite of how they acted in the first season of the show, which takes place after this. So at what point, and it's opposite to how they looked at it when they were in college together, when they were in law school together. So at what point do they have these big philosophical shifts within themselves? That doesn't make any sense to me. And again, with Matt and Karen, I can respect Karen wanting to be involved and wanting to be on the front line and everything. I don't like her and Matt being together. I know that like that's what the show was leading towards and everything, especially in season 2 when they tried it. But the thing is, they tried it in season 2, and Matt basically cheated on her. Matt could not keep his shit straight. He could not make good decisions, and in my opinion, he squandered her. He fumbled her. He shouldn't get a second chance at her. She's too good for him. I don't like them saying I love you to each other. It doesn't. Matt, in my opinion, can't really love anyone other than Elektra. There was like no interest that I saw between the two of them in season 3. At least not a sexual romantic type of interest. I also don't like Matt letting Karen be on the front lines and like, go put herself in danger investigating stuff on her own. Matt is like one of the most protective superhero boyfriends that we've seen in these types of things. So I really do find it hard to fathom. Not even just boyfriends. He didn't like Aaron and Foggy doing things on their own in season 1. So what's going on here? Like I don't like it. It's like, oh well, desperate time call for different measures. Sure. But can't he call somebody with, oh I don't know, bulletproof skin or with a fist that lights up? Doesn't he have ways to get in touch with people that are a little bit more suited for putting themselves in danger than she is? Goodness gracious. I don't know, I don't really feel like anything this season worked for me. I also want to talk really quickly about Vanessa's death towards the end of the season. She dies from like a piece of glass that's maybe about an inch long getting like lodged in her temple. And most of the piece of glass is still visible. Like less than half of it goes into her head. I can't speak to the lethality of that. I've never been through anything like that or seen it happen to anybody. But the idea that she is brought in for surgery, the surgery is successful for the most part. She has some short-term memory loss, it seems. And she's stable, and then she dies anyway. You know what it reminds me of? In Arrow Season 4, Damien Dark stabs Laurel Lance, the Black Canary, with one of Oliver's arrows. They rush her to the hospital. They remove the arrow. Surgery goes well. She's stable. She's fine. She's going to make a full recovery. She talks to Oliver, and she says, Oliver, you have my blessing to go after Felicity. I know that you love her. I know that she loves you. You don't have to be hung up on me or Sarah anymore. It's okay. Right after she has that conversation with Oliver, she dies. What's up with that? What was the point of having the surgery happen and then it's successful and she recovers, or she starts recovering and she's stable and she's fine, and then she dies anyway? What do you gain from that as a writer? How's that good storytelling? It ain't. That's how. It's just not. It's just really bad storytelling. And I'm sick of stuff like that. I think it's really stupid. But whatever. I think with poor pacing, character motivations that make no sense, and like the finale episode is fine. You know, him being that he's Daredevil and going to jail is nice because it shows how far he's willing to plunge himself into darkness to take down Fisk, but not all the way. And it kind of matches up with the fact that, like, he visited Fisk and was like, hey, we can both leave this city and it'll be better off without either one of us. But I don't know, just because it's consistent within itself doesn't mean that it's good. I just was bored. I'm not looking forward to season 3. I am just over the show. You know, I think maybe we put Daredevil on ice for a few years and then we come back with a new actor. Nothing against Charlie. I don't want Charlie gone. I just want a new interpretation of the character, because this show feels like it is both a slave to and doing everything it can to prove that it is better than the previous version. And I just don't want that. You know, I think it's time for a new guy, and that's okay. You know, Charlie is 40 something now. You know, he can't do it forever. But that's all I got to say about Born Again season 2. We got to talk about the Punisher next though, because that sure was something. But Daredevil Born Again season 2. Have you seen it? I hope so. What did you think about it? Do you think it was better than or worse than the first season? I do think it's better than the first season, but you know, is trash better than garbage? Anyway, I'll see you later. Actually, editing Boyo here, wanted to cut in because I completely forgot to mention the character played by Matthew Lillard, Mr. Charles. I meant to talk about him and how unmemorable he is, but then I forgot both his name and the fact that he was in the show. I don't know, there was a lot of talk about him before the season came out, and he kind of just amounts to being a gun runner who tries to bark orders at Fisk. He acts like he's this opposing force in New York City that like if Fisk doesn't watch his back, he's gonna take his job, basically. You know, like it was his guns that were on the Northern Star ship that got totaled in the first episode, and then he spends the entire rest of the season kind of just bitching and moaning and kicking his feet about that, and then Buck and Fisk grab him by the balls, and then he goes running off to Jessica Jones and the governor of New York because he didn't get his way. And then at the very end of everything, he recruits Dex, which it's like, how do you get Bullseye onto a plane, like a commercial plane with like other people on it? Like, do you not have to? I worked for TSA for a year. Okay, I know the process. I know that a wanted fugitive who is like wanted in connection with the death of the mayor's wife is not getting on a plane. But whatever, it's comic books, right? You have to take the good with the bad. I don't know. I feel like Matthew was cast in the show because he's got a very committed fan base. He's not exactly the most popular actor in the world, obviously, but the people that like him really like him, and I'm one of them. I'm quite a fan of Matthew Lillard. I think that his involvement in Five Nights at Freddy's is what made me decide to watch the movie. I love him in Scream, even though the prospect of him being in Scream 7 was not enough to convince me to go see it. I do have morals and I do stand on certain things, but yeah, I don't know, he ends up not doing much in the show, and maybe they're teeing him up to have a bigger role in season 3 now that Fisk is gone. There's a power vacuum, And we know that nature abhors a vacuum, so someone's going to take that spot. I think if you want to not waste this character, that's what he should do next. But I don't know. We'll see where it goes, I guess.